I wanted to do this one with the Christmas tree in the background because I know with a lot of Christians, sometimes they talk about it's a pagan thing or should Christians celebrate holidays? And it really got me thinking because it's like the main two that I really want to touch on are Easter and Christmas. Christians should celebrate holidays because all of the holidays and all the things that we usually have are around Christ. I mean, if you look at through all history, you have BC and AD, after dissension, after death, and before Christ. Is our whole history and timeline. Now, I know a lot of textbooks have tried to change that to BCE, before the Common Era, because they want to push the evolution agenda and indoctrinate our kids, which I'll make a couple more videos about and where I see that going and why we should try and stop that, because we should be teaching truthful things in science where you can study, test, and observe. But back to the Christmas tree. Christmas is Christ's birth. It's not about Santa Claus. It's not about the North Pole. It's not about elves. It's not about imaginary things that are made up. And it's pretty simple to me. For Easter, I do bunnies don't lay eggs, but Jesus rose from the grave. Now, I still let my kids partake in a resurrection egg hunt, is what we call it. So they can still go find Bible verses or candy or whatever. You can do what you want to do with your family. But it's important that we teach them that these holidays are to remember. It's just like, for instance, communion. At communion, we celebrate his body and blood in the communion wine and the bread. Christ said, "Do this in remembrance of me." The holidays are to remember him. Now, what we have is we have a problem with the world, and they don't want to accept that it's about Christ, but they still want to celebrate that holiday. They still want to do the presents. They still want, so you bring in this jolly old fat guy who just wants to spread holiday cheer. Except they're not learning about the Creator that came, the birth of a Savior, and that's the whole entire point of everything. And if you don't learn about the birth of the Savior, you're not going to understand the death of this man who claimed to be God in the flesh and was the Son of God and rose so that all of us get to live. If you are not understanding those two holidays, I don't. Like that's great. We want to celebrate that holiday, but we don't want to accept the God that created the holiday or came and did what he did for us. That's nuts. It's been nuts. What we need to get back on and what we teach our kids is it's not about the presents. It's not about the gifts. It's not, do we get presents? Do we do the tree? Yeah, I do. The tree I wanted behind me because we do that for lights. We're supposed to be the light of the world. Christ said, "Be a light. Let your light shine before men." I love Christmas lights because it's a reminder that the light will shine in the darkness. And when it's dark, you can see all those lights all over the place. Now, if you're doing it for any other reason, I don't know what you're doing. Like if you're just decorating to decorate, and there's lots of other things that we could be spending our money on, that's great. I'm not putting anybody down or going into that topic. You got to do what you got to do. But the two main points I want to touch on is Christ's birth has to be about his birthday. He doesn't need to share that with a jolly old fat guy who wants to spread holiday cheer, who's not real. He's not real. And then you're going to grow up later on and tell your kids, well, we lied to you, but it was just for imaginary and make-believe and fun. And then they're like, well, what if they lied about that other guy too? And here's my thing, Christians, don't ride both sides of the fence. Be about the truth. The truth will set you free. Now, my kids will watch Santa movies and things like that, but they know that's make-believe, and they know this is real. We celebrate Jesus' birthday, and everybody should. That's what the holiday's for. Like, what we have is the world wants to celebrate these holidays and do the same things, just with a different limelight and a different aspect. So let me, real quick, for Easter, we do bunnies don't lay eggs, but Jesus rose from the grave. My kids go on a resurrection egg hunt. We still celebrate Easter, but it's about Christ and his death, burial, and resurrection. Because without that, none of us have squat when we die. I mean, it's the hope of the entire humanity. And our Creator created us, and then he came down and did that for us. And we should, why wouldn't you want to celebrate that in the right aspect, even if you don't want to believe that somebody loved you so much that they did that for you? I mean, what a piece of crap to love us so much to do that, right? I think it's the people that have a problem with it. And I get that we've all been through lives because of sin and things in life because of sin and other people, but that's not God's fault, that's people's fault. So we can stop blaming the Creator who keeps trying to make it better for us and start acknowledging for who he is and celebrate these holidays for what they are. And the point I got to make real quick with the Easter and Christmas, if you want to change those, it's basically like the Santa coming in or the Easter bunny. A bunny doesn't lay eggs, but Jesus rose from the grave. It's pretty simple. Like, I guess my point would be going back to communion. It'd be like if everybody wanted to celebrate communion with us, but they didn't want to accept it as Christ's body and blood. So I guess we get things of Kool-Aid so the people can come in that don't believe in that. And we'll serve them Kool-Aid for Kool-Aid week or what. I mean, it's literally that dumb if you think about it. And I'm not trying to hurt any Christian parent that's out here teaching those things. I was taught Santa. I don't teach my kids it. I've gone over it extensively with my parents and why. And I don't know why you'd want to spend a bunch of gifts on a made-up thing, spending your money, your hard-earned money that you work for, to go to a made-up fictitious person. And it's great that he just wants to spread holiday cheer, and this is imagination. And the God that created us spoke everything into existence and gave you your imagination. He gave us all the thought process, and we should use it to glorify him, not anybody else. He shouldn't have to share that holiday, his birthday, with anybody else. It should be about Christ and his birthday and what he did. And his death and resurrection should be the same as Easter and everything else. Like, we need to get back to those two main topics and stop indulging the world in all this nonsense and fictitious and make-believe, because Satan is the author of lies. God is the author of love. Now, I want our kids to focus on the author of love and not the author of lies. And Satan isn't going to come with horns and a pitchfork. He'll put on a jolly old red suit. And if you move that end to the end, you'll see what I'm talking about. Santa, move the end to the end. Satan, that's weird. I could go into this for days, but, and I know people want to take their kids and sit on the lap and do all that stuff, but be careful that they understand the actual meaning of Christmas. It's not the Christmas trees. It is about the lights. The lights we're supposed to be every day. I don't care if we should have a Christmas tree up or Christmas lights every day to remind us you are to be the light of the world. Go shine in the darkness, and the darkness will never overcome it. But start teaching your kids the right things. Don't lie to them for years and years and years and then be like, well, we made that up. Then what's with this Jesus thing too? You might have made that up too. Yeah, let's not start the lies. Satan's lies, we're to be truth teller. So let's tell the truth. And I'm going to tell the truth about this. Christmas is for Christ's birthday, and he doesn't need to share it with anybody. And I respect if you still do your kids or whatever, but teach them truth and make sure they know the truth, because the truth will set them free. Bunnies don't lay eggs, but Jesus rose from the grave. So when people say, should a Christian celebrate holidays? Hell yeah, they're for Christians. Like, they're to remember, do this in remembrance of me, just like communion. Christ's birthday, Christ's resurrection. They're all these things are to do in remembrance, so we keep passing the baton of faith to the next generation so they can always remember the God that loved them so much that they did these things for him. And it's cool if other kids out in God's creation that are his kids, whether you want to acknowledge him or not, he's still your daddy. You can flip him off your whole life or not, he still is your father, and you still have to stand in front of him. But I don't know why you wouldn't want to have a relationship with a personal, loving God that loves you so much that he revealed himself to you. I love y'all, and it's literally that simple. Love y'all.